Okay, here we are in Lough Gur for our workshop with Canon and Whelan cameras. The group are all the way back up this way. They're all kind of gathering piece by piece, trickling in, and we're going to bring them down in about 10 or 15 minutes and kick off. And having taken a look at the location, the best spot to do stuff with a big group of people is actually here in front of the lake, and we're going to go for a warrior type theme with a big sword and stuff like that. So it'll be really cool, kind of get that almost Lady in the Lake type slight hint or twist to things. I'm going to probably stand the model on this rock or over in the reeds, and I'm just setting up one light here. Might use two, but it looks like it might be a one light setup, but we'll see how it goes. The way they work is, I'm not sure how much, I think you're all told slightly different things anyway, so I'll give a quick summary and overview. The way these work is, it's kind of like a little condensed version of what I would do on a full day workshop, right? A full day workshop, we go up in the morning, we go through all the setup, and then we'll get to where we build up the shoot, and we shoot away, right? And then in the afternoon, we would do a second kind of setup and shoot. Sometimes there'll be a big change, and sometimes there won't.
What about things like reflectors?
I've drawn these wires that bring here.
As in reflector boards?
Yeah.
Like panels and stuff?
Yeah.
Extremely useful, limited use in a situation like this, because often to get them close enough, they have to be in shot.
Right.
Varies from shoot to shoot, okay? If you're shooting raw, which for the purpose of today's shoot, I would advise it strongly, because in a situation like this, you're shooting for detail. I'm exposing with a white balance of flash, purely so that we're correcting for the light that's hitting Vita. It should make it a little easier in post later. If you're shooting raw, it shouldn't matter too much, because you can always set up whatever you like, but it's nice to have some bit of an okay starting point. What I'm going to do is bring this in closer. Why am I bringing it in closer? No.
The background go dark.
No. I can just turn the power up if I want. There's not actually.
Oh, you want a softer light, yes?
Kind of. That's part of it. That's one of the two things I want. No.
More contrast.
More contrast. Slightly softer and more contrast. I want the fall off to happen faster. So I'm bringing the light in closer. There's many options. There's taking the via the hills. What I'm going to do is come back further, and then the last thing I'm doing is checking if I compress with different lens focal lengths, right, what difference it allows me to make with the framing. Yeah. Away from the light, right, and she's facing away from the light and turning back into it. That's a good way of making any person in a photograph seem longer, taller, and here we're getting that whole warrior goddess thing going on, so we want to exaggerate and accentuate her stature, yeah? So that's the best way to do it. And Vita is proportioned in such a way, the size of her head to her body makes her look huge, as in very tall in photos, and we're just exaggerating that, yeah? I've taken some shots just checking to see what way different bits of background go. Obviously the sky and the water are the best, right, because the model can't do against it. But knowing there's still some detail in the hills, if we need it, there's no harm in working with angles with, like if I was shooting here for a while, I'd even be getting under this rock and using the diagonal of the rock a little bit, getting it to be more of a crag kind of look, yeah? Getting in close underneath that. You know, but just to give an idea of the general framing, it's important for me to just shoot the general frame.
Punch down a bit with the, is that too awkward in that outfit? Perfect.
So the idea is to just get it set up, and some of the key things I want to point out, especially in circumstances like this where it's not warm, you're setting up without the model there. Whether she's sick or she's not sick, it's always a good policy to kind of get your scene set up without the model there. Then bring the model in with the styling and all this kind of stuff, and make final adjustments to framing and whatever, just because, look, things will always change every time you change an element, and just adjust to those and then get your shots. And the shots is like, you're talking a half a dozen shots. You're not talking about 42 million photographs, yeah? Because there's no point. Now, and the other thing as well is, to stress again, assessing the location, one of the mistakes people make is they try to include too much, and then you can't light everything, and then you can see the circle of flash around the floor, and you can see all these things, and that just causes problems. The other thing as well is build the lighting one by one. Why?
So you can see what's going on. Which
Yeah.
light is causing.
So
Yeah.
if something goes down more back, like easier.
And what's the first light we check? The last one. If you're shooting on location, what is the first light you set up and expose for? The ambient light. To get it the way you want it, so that it has the effect you need to build the other lights on top of that. So that's it. The idea is that everybody goes away knowing those key things, right? And once you get the exposure right for each one as you go, you know, you're as you said, if there's a problem, you check the last one. Yeah, the last one that you've done. Because the one before that was fine. Suddenly the next one we put in, there's a problem. We adjust that one. Yeah? The other, past that point, then it's all a matter of changing the ratios as you see fit. You want this light stronger? You want the other light stronger? You want the model to pop out more and make it look more fake? Or do you want it to sit in more? And positioning, like we did with Viv, in between the two lights, the distance left and right helps you to control the ratios and change it even further. Alright?
Can I just ask, when we take them home post-production, how much tweaking do we need to do much, or?
It depends what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, it's really down to you. There's many different approaches to photography, and one of the approaches is, you know, getting stock to create stuff afterwards. Yeah? And that's, you know, enjoyable and it's fun and whatever. Another approach is getting stuff in camera, and hopefully you don't have to do anything to it. The reality is that 90% of the time it's somewhere in between.
Texture, environment. And if you're doing color filters, make sure they don't wash out or blow out your images too. So sometimes, I always tell people, sometimes more is less and less is more. So it's a fine balance. And I'll just reject stuff if it's too much.
And Topher, there is an obvious difference between something that was deliberately processed creatively versus something that's over processed, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a difference between my work and his work.
Did everyone get something? Even a bit of enjoyment and freezing bits out of it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, can I say thanks a million to Canon? I don't see other companies being this generous and putting on things like this.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
Yeah, thanks to Whelans in Limerick, where Dave and Bernard and Brian and John and the lads are sound as a bell, and the work they put into organising the event was huge. Believe it or not, it's a lot of messing about. So thanks to Bernard from Canon. Bernard's an absolute legend and an absolute gentleman, and I love when he's on an event or when I'm on an event that he's doing. The guy is a wealth of knowledge, and he's the gentleman as well. Thanks to Bernard. Thanks to Topher, right? The guy is phenomenal, right? Thanks a million to Topher. Thanks to Alison for getting all the content. And not only that, but helping with some of the run-up to it and the promotion and things like that. They wouldn't happen if it wasn't for all the work and time that Alison puts in. Apart from being a phenomenal photographer, she's a good boss as well.
So I suppose, why did you want to come to this workshop today?
It was advertised in our camera club, and it was advertised on Whelan's Camera
Yeah.
shop. So they sent me out an email, and I applied for it, and I was successful. So this is why I'm here today. And of course, it's only about 12 miles from where I live, so
Cool.
it's easy to get to.
Cool. Did you learn anything today? What was the biggest nugget you're taking away with you today?
The skill that's involved in setting up the lights, it was great to see
Get
it
your camera away or
put into action, and one light at a time and all that being put on you. So
Yeah.
we enjoyed all that.
Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't realise how tough it was for the model. She had a tough task today.